if you stay here and listen, your life will never be the same. 'Cause we're talking with T-Bird now. And this T-Bird you cannot change. Oh, this T-Bird you cannot change. And things might get pretty strange.
Yes, that's right. Talking with T-Bird is back again. And we have got another good one for you. The winner of Survivor China will join us, Todd Herzog. And here is the woman who rounds up the survivors every time we get together. Here's the great T-Bird Cooper.
Hey, Rob. Yes.
T-Bird, how are you?
I'm doing really, really good. Thank you for asking. How are you? How's your week been? How was the countdown with you watching the Survivor season?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be
countdown. No, the countdown is going great.
You're going to be having a week for quite a while watching the Survivor season every week.
Yeah, hopefully not like this one, but it's been a great time to get back together with you, T-Bird. Last week, we were able to sync things up with our top 40 season countdown. We talked with Holly Hoffman coming off of watching the 34th best season of Survivor in Nicaragua. This week, I talked about the 33rd best season, Survivor Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers. But today, we're not talking to Ben Driebergen today. We're talking to Todd Herzog.
Yeah, and I thought, we could try to wait until China comes for your top 40, but I think China's going to be a while.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a while. And maybe we'll talk to somebody else from Survivor China.
Oh, God, this cast, Survivor China cast, these 16 players are, I've been looking at them and reading about them all week. What a great, great cast. It's a wonderful cast. And you know what? Actually, I had reached out to Todd for season 1 of Talking with T-Bird, and he was so generous and kind to say, T-Bird, no, I'm just not really doing any interviews right now. But he actually reached back out to me, about a year and a half? It's been a while, and said, people have mentioned about me coming on Talking with T-Bird. I'd really like to do it. And so we have been wanting Todd for a while, but we've got him today.
Yes. Okay. T-Bird, how's your week been?
It's been good.
Yes.
Been good. Yeah. Everything's good. Weather's breaking. The weather's been fantastic. So able to get out. I actually got in the mail today, even though it's a Sunday. I got my custom Funko Pop.
Yes.
That Todd made for me, and it is so cute. We'll talk about that with Todd later. But yeah, it's been a great week.
Yes. Did you have to request it, or he just made it and sent it to you?
Yeah, I requested it.
Yes. Okay.
I had seen one that he had made for somebody else. I think he said somebody had ordered a T-Bird Funko Pop.
Mm-hmm.
Funko Pop, and I'm not sure why they did, but then I thought, hey, I might need to have one of those.
Yes.
So,
and what will you do with it? Will you give it to your husband or your kids?
Well, what do you think?
It'll just go in your collection, in your T-Bird museum?
Yeah. It'll just go in the T-Bird museum, because right now the kids and everybody else, they're just going to be getting the Talking with T-Bird T-shirts now.
Okay.
Happy birthday. Merry Christmas, guys. Hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, here's more Talking with T-Bird merch for you.
Yeah, enjoy.
Okay. All right. We're going to get to Todd. Very excited to catch up with him. It's been a minute since I had Todd on the podcast, so he is coming up in just a moment. But first, let me take a moment and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. Those are our friends over at Honey. And Honey is the browser extension that saves you money. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/RHAP. We all go shopping online, not just for pop figures from Todd. We've all seen that little promo box that taunts us at checkout, like, hey, what is the password? Do you know it? No. You could be saving money, but you don't know it, so you have to pay the full price. But thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes, that's a thing of the past. Honey is the free browser extension that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Honey supports over 30,000 stores online, ranging from sites that have tech and gaming products to popular fashion brands and even food delivery. Hey, can I tell you something? I even used it on the RHAP shop the other day. You could use it and save some extra cash when you're making a purchase. Imagine you're shopping on one of your favorite sites. When you're at checkout, the Honey button drops down and tells you all you have to do is hit apply coupons, and within a few seconds, boop, 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 it finds the one that's best for your site. If Honey finds a working coupon, watch the price drop. It's amazing, T-Bird. I've used it so many times to send flowers to people that you're always going to save 15-20% on any of these online florists that you use. I've used it also on sites that I use for office products, like with letterhead and things like that. T-Bird, there's so many different places that you could be saving money. Nicole, the first lady of podcasting, has used it on clothing shopping as well. So many different ways to save. Honey has found its 17 million members, over 2 billion with a B, $2 billion in savings. And if you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out on free savings. It's literally free and installs in a few seconds. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this podcast. So get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/RHAP. That's joinhoney.com/RHAP. All right, T-Bird, let's go ahead and bring in Todd.
Today's guest was only 22 when he played on the 15th season of Survivor China, but it was at a much younger age when he set his sights on playing the game. He had been a fan since day one and even started a Survivor club in high school and was voted most likely to appear on Survivor. At 15, he had a dream, set goals, devised a plan, and then worked toward his end game. He would not only play the game, but win the game. He said, quote, "I felt more emotions, thought more about my life in general than I ever had. China has helped me to grow up." This young kid from Pleasant Grove, Utah, was raised in the Mormon church. His passion for life, his drive, determination, and curiosity would be the perfect mix for a guy that has described himself as a crazy kid with a big sense of adventure and an energy for life. A tribe mate and close friend, Frosty Zernow, told me that whatever he does, he is fully invested. Frosty told me our guest today worked at a movie theater, and while there, he decided to watch a movie in every single seat of the theater so he could get the different perspectives from every seat. He has said he is a people person. He loves adventure and loves to travel. He would satisfy this passion by getting on with SkyWest Airlines as a flight attendant. His career was cut short when he was forced to decide between his career in the sky or a chance on the island. Well, we all know, of course, which one he picked. But when you fulfill your life dream at the young age of 22, what's next? His mom said he slowly began changing after returning from the game. He would go to events, began drinking, and then drinking alone. He would go through some dark days. In November 2013, his mom and dad, desperate to save his life, would take his private battle public on Dr. Phil, raising awareness of the complicated issue of alcoholism. He has said that, quote, "If his story can help one person get the help they need, he's ready to go public with it," end quote. He was sent to rehab, wanting to leave after 30 days, but the emails of love and support came pouring in, and he realized he had been offered a gift. He would come through it with the love of his family and his Survivor family. He recently married the man of his dreams, Jess Hermanson, in a beautiful Las Vegas ceremony. He loves to create things, and his heart is happiest when he is bringing joy to others. So once again, he had a dream, set goals, devised a plan, and, well, sound familiar? And is now a successful toy maker. He has come a long way since winning the game he loves and getting through the challenging days after the game. He will tell you he now knows he is more than just Todd from Survivor. He is truly a survivor. I introduce to you the guy that continues to touch others, the winner of Survivor China, Todd Herzog.
Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Nice.
And hello, I'm very happy to be here.
Todd, how are you?
I'm excellent. I'm just still in, like, my jaw's dropped from that introduction. So thank you. That was beautiful.
Hey, Todd. Thank you for joining us today, Todd. So exciting to have you on here.
Absolutely. I'm stoked to be here. It's been so long since I've actually wanted to do this. And so I'm honored that you have me. And it's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, Todd, I looked it up. It has been, I think, 3 years since we talked to you on the podcast, which coincidentally, it was during Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers, which is good synergy with that we are doing the all-time season countdown here on Rob as a Podcast. And we just talked about that on Wednesday, the 33rd best season of Survivor.
The 33rd best season of Survivor.
Yes. No sign of China yet. I think we're not going to talk about China for many weeks to come.
I think that should be the case, too.
And absolutely believe it's going to be further down because your cast, what a great, wonderful cast you guys had. I love this cast.
I am very lucky with the cast that I was able to play the game with, because you get out there and you have no idea who you're going to be playing with. You have no idea who the people are. And then you see them and, make your judgments. But, oh my gosh, every single person had such a strong story and life experience and background. And it was just, I was honored to be with that cast. And so, I got really lucky. I got really lucky with those people.
And it looks like you still stay in touch with quite a few of your cast.
I do. These are people who I made unbelievable experiences with. And so, you guys both know when you sit outside in the jungle for that long and you're with these people, there's not a lot to do except for talk and learn about each other. And so you create this bond that is stronger than, friendships that you've had for years, which is insane. And so these wonderful humans, I'm just grateful to have them in my life. Courtney and I, we've done so many different adventures together, and Frosty is just unbelievable. PG, I'm super close with. It's crazy. Leslie, who actually now lives in Utah, not far from me. It's awesome. It's super awesome.
I like these, the 16 players. I don't know why it seems like it makes such a difference when you do 16 players as opposed to 20. But 16 players seems so manageable. And it just seemed like you do become just a little family unit. So it's interesting.
You're totally right in that scenario. Sure, the 20 people cast is great. However, the first few episodes, you don't get to know these other people, especially when they're voted off early. As a viewer, I should say, because I haven't ever played with more than 16 people. But 16 is almost like a tight-knit family, especially when you're on a tribe of 8 and you have no other choice but to rely on these people for help with food and shelter and just kind of keeping your life together while it's a pretend land in the jungle.
And you set your sights on this at the young age of 15, maybe even younger. So you're a student and a teacher of the game. Is there a footprint to win this game?
Is there a footprint to win this game?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So
what is the
obviously I was
footprint?
a student of the game. What is the footprint? I think I would say you have to get to know people. You have to not just, the surface, not just, simple chit chat about the weather, but you want to get to know these people as genuinely as possible. Because if you don't have a bond with anybody, you're not going to be able to make it far in the game at all. And then even if you do make it far, if you haven't connected with these people, you have the jury to worry about.
Yeah.
So, that's who's going to be handing over $1 million. And in my final tribal council, I did say to them, I said, I may have lied and backstabbed However, the relationships that we created, those were real and those were genuine. And I meant that because I wanted to know about these people's lives. I wanted to know their backstory, where they came from, what their family's like, the things that make them smile the most and the things that make them sad. And if you do that, then you have a much better chance of actually winning the game of Survivor.
Yeah, Todd, you played such a super social game and really honed in on the relationships with the other players. It's been a couple of years since we've gotten to speak on the podcast. What do you think of the state of Survivor after all of the recent changes that have come to? As a gamer, do you like what they've done, or do you feel like that they've gotten very far away from what Survivor China was like?
Oh my gosh. It's very different now. I mean, obviously the game has adapted just like I feel like it should. I feel like the game should adapt, but I don't think it should lose sight of what it is. And that is a problem. Seasons like, in my opinion, Ghost Island, it was a fantastic cast, but I feel like a lot of the journey and the surviving and the relationships were lost because it was nothing but surprises and twists and idols and changes. And it's like you almost need a spreadsheet to keep track of everything that's going on.
Yes. And
that's not fun for me as a viewer.
And if you need a spreadsheet, Todd, what chance does any of the other viewers have?
Exactly. And what's crazy is that was the very first season that I forced my husband to watch. So he was like newly my boyfriend at the time. And I was like, just give the show a shot. I love it. And he was like, all right. And so Ghost Island was his first season. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh no. So I'm trying to tell him,
I'm watching it right now.
Don't worry. This twist doesn't happen all the time. Like, oh, this is different. And trying to explain things. And that's just not easy for a casual viewer. So, I remember watching, season 1, 2, 3, like those first few seasons, where it was like you got to know these people. So you weren't just watching a game play out, you were watching literally a social experiment take place. And that was what was so cool about it.
Todd, would your game have been a lot different? I mean, like you said, because you played such a social game, and I did want to point out, I think that one couple lines that you said during your tribal council, your final tribal council, sealed your fate with winning because you were so genuine and you really did care about the people you were playing with. And even Frosty told me that he said everything he told me during the game, we had a real human connection. So obviously the jury was able to know the difference between the game strategy and the friendship. So how would you have played if you had all these idols and twists thrown in?
Oh gosh, if there were a million different idols and twists, I think the only thing you can do is your best to adapt to it. So I would probably talk a lot more than I did. And I already talked a lot. I mean, I'm a chatty person. So I would probably talk a lot more and feel things out. And I guess, in my opinion, you have to have people want to trust you, because then they share their secrets. And so if there were all these twists and stuff, I would have people hopefully sharing with me their feelings and their secrets. And I would probably end up making a few lies about finding something myself if I hadn't actually found something. But it's hard because it's not just a numbers game anymore, and it's not just a social game. It's a lot of luck, and that's tricky. I mean, I'm a superstitious person that believes in luck, but it's so hard when those idols are involved.
And Todd, unfortunately, we did not get to see you at Winners at War, but as an old school player and looking back at your gameplay this whole last week, I think you would have done well as an old school player, actually, at Winners at War. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that Todd would have been in a very good spot. I would love to hear Todd talking about how he would think it would have gone.
to be honest with you, I think I would have done awesome. I feel like it would have been a very different game.
Okay. Did you hear that, Rob?
Yes.
Do it again. Hold it. My foot fell.
Yes. Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay. Go ahead, Todd. Carry on.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I think if I was on Winners at War, I would have done awesome. I personally think, just because I'm a social person, so I would be able to connect with the new school players, but I feel like I would be kind of the glue to hold the old school players together, because instead of all of the vendettas that they have about past seasons, it's like, guys, we're here right now. And if you don't take a close look, we're outnumbered by the new school people, and they're going to take control. Whether you want to believe it or not, they are kind of like their own little high school clique. It's like the whole Gen Z thing where, you don't understand what's up. So it's like, okay. I feel like I would have been able to maneuver things quite well.
Yeah, please, Todd, please don't antagonize our Gen Z listeners.
Oh, I love the Gen Z people. I love them, except for I don't understand what they mean half the time.
Yeah, but we just pretend. We just nod along. Yes. Yes, it's, smile and wave. And then they use these little acronyms that I don't understand, but I guess that's because I don't have a middle part. Yes. I'm sorry. Continue.
But yeah, so there, I think I would have done well, because I definitely wouldn't be the biggest threat out there. You do have these huge targets, but if I would be able to, gather those big threats and actually work with them, but then bring in one or two of the new schoolers who were probably going to be on the outs, I feel like it would have worked well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Who were those two new schoolers that were kind of on the outs? Who would they have been? Let's bring them in now.
I would have brought Michelle in a heartbeat. Because she's a very underrated player, and we saw that a lot in Winners at War. So I would have brought Michelle in, and I would have probably brought Natalie in. I think. You got to have a beast on your side. So
good choices. But Todd, you know what I wonder? We haven't seen you play a second time yet, but the first time when you played in China, looking back, I don't know that anybody was playing as hard as you were playing. And when you go into a season with people that have played before, most people out there are playing a really, really hard game. So I know that's got to make a huge difference. Did I get that wrong on your season? Were there anybody out there playing close to as hard as you were playing?
Honestly, PG was playing hard. She was playing really hard, but she was playing with people who just didn't know what they were doing. So that was her downfall, and it wasn't her fault. Amanda was also playing hard, but she was not willing to show it. I do believe 100% that I was playing the hardest, but I was the giant survivor super fan out there. I was Rob Cesternino of China. So
I've never heard that term before.
Oh,
usually that's a bad thing. Usually that's a bad
thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys. So Todd, you just hit on that. So I was so curious. I was thinking when I was looking back on all this, you guys do absolutely remind me of each other. How do you think you would fare if you were on the same season together? Would you work together? Because I feel sure you wouldn't trust each
Todd
other.
Has to
or
go.
Would you?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we would pretend to be playing with each other, but we would totally be going against each other, because you can only have one. You can only have one super fan that's like really, really playing hard. You can't play together,
right?
Or else you're going to outsmart. Someone's going to outsmart the other.
How dare you, Todd? How dare you?
Look, just the truth, and you know it.
No, well, look, I don't know. Could we go to the end together? I don't know, but I feel like that. My strategy on this is let's keep this together. Let's I think we have enough mutually aligned interests to work together for a while. No, Todd?
Oh, we're talking
the same people that are coming for you are the same people that are coming for me.
That's what I'm saying is we would work together at Final 5 and 6, but behind each other's backs, we would be finding who would be willing to take out the other.
Sure, I just don't want to go out before the merge again, Todd.
No. Like, that won't happen.
Let me stay around.
That won't happen.
Sure. Yeah, we can't go to the end together, but like, let's, give me 30 days, Todd.
A solid 30? Okay. I think that's doable.
Yeah.
Well, you make a good point about PG, because PG needed so desperately, if she could have changed the girls' minds, about turning on you. I'm surprised that they didn't realize what a threat you were to get you out. So, I guess that definitely worked in your favor to have Amanda and Courtney and Denise so tied to you, because PG couldn't break through.
I watched, when I did watch my season, like when it was actually airing, and I saw like the talk about me that I was unaware of, like Amanda, getting upset and wanting to turn against me at times. I was like, what? But I was like, okay, how did I do that? And I think the biggest reason why they didn't go with PG is because PG has zero poker face. So she'll like wear it all on her sleeves, and it's like you can't align with PG because everybody will know something is up. But she also was with Eric, and Eric was the kind of person who was just like, I'm just here for the ride. And it's like, well, I don't want to play with you then. Like, you can sit in the back.
And Eric was one that I believe you said that if he had made it to the end, you think he would have won.
If he was up against like Amanda and Courtney, he probably would have, because of all of the Zhan Hu members. So yes, I would not have voted for Eric. I don't dislike him as a human being, but out there, I really didn't like him. I'm not going to lie. I didn't like Eric in China. He really bugged me.
What was he doing? The goat noises?
He was as exciting as cardboard. I was like, can you be a person? Like, do you have a personality besides playing guitar? Nobody cares right now. We don't have a guitar.
Jamie Dugan cared.
Apparently, because they have a baby now. Jamie Dugan cared because she wears the pants. So that's why she cared.
Okay, there it is.
There it is.
And there it is right there. Okay. All right. So, Todd, who were you disappointed? I want to go back to Winners at War since we touched on that. Of course, we were disappointed not to see you out there. Was there anybody else that was not there that you were disappointed not to see?
Oh, I mean, there's plenty of people, I would have loved to have seen Tina and Richard. I mean, it would have been awesome to see Rich back. And let's see, I think Fabio would be fun. He would be a different mix in there. And Jenna, I would love to see what Jenna would do now. I don't know. There's so many. I wish there were more old school winners. That's my main thing. I wish there were more old school winners. Even Vesepia, she played so long ago. I would love to see how different of a game she would play this time around, because I feel like she's the Michelle of the old school, where she would have something to prove, and it would be kind of exciting.
Todd, Rob and I were talking about Fabio last week. We talked to Holly Hoffman, and I was saying, and I actually said, I think Fabio would have done, like you. I think y'all both would have done well at Winners at War. I think people would have gravitated to y'all. The new school would have gravitated to both of y'all.
See, and Fabio's a funny guy. Like, in person, he's so, he just has there's not that filter where he decides of what to say. It just kind of spills out. And sometimes you're like, oh, Fabio. I mean, and I have that problem too. Yeah. So when we're like talking, me and Fabio, it can be a mess.
Todd, do you talk to Fabio a lot?
Be funny. Only when I see him at events, but we hang out quite a bit. Yeah.
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 I feel like that, just to be clear, like I think that Fabio being out there versus Todd being out there would be very different. Like I kind of feel like that, Todd might be able to like craft his own way, where I think that Fabio would be like dragged towards the end, that people would be saying like, oh, I want to sit in the end with Fabio.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I do.
They both might go far, but for different reasons.
Well,
and Fabio would be cool with that. He'd be like, yeah, I'll go.
Todd would be the one taking Fabio to the end.
yeah, but isn't that kind of okay? Don't you kind of think, as long as I can get to the end? I know ideally you want to get to the end and win.
It's okay, but I don't want to watch Fabio get to the end again. I just watched it last week.
That's right.
The 34th best season of Survivor.
And so that's another thing I noticed about your season, Todd. People were talking about who deserves to win based on their need for the money. And I've got to tell you, Rob, I don't know about your season, but in Africa, I wanted to see the person win that was deserving of the win, that would represent our season well if it wasn't going to be me. But you guys and gals out there look like y'all were talking more about who needed the money.
Okay, so a lot of that was like manipulation. So I would say if Denise got to the end, people would give it to her because they feel like she needs it. When the truth is like if Denise got to the end, she wouldn't have won. But I just wanted her to be voted out. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Strategy, absolutely.
So, kind of terrible, but it's the truth. Like I wanted to sit next to Amanda and Courtney, and so I had to play that card. And Denise, she may would have like performed well in the final tribal council. We really don't know, but I still don't feel like she created the bond with anybody enough to win the votes. Right.
All right. So if Frosty had started on we talked to Frosty, a few months back. If he had started on your tribe, do you think he would have been one of the ones you would have bonded with in place of, weren't you with Aaron? You had bonded with Aaron. It was going to be you, Aaron, and Amanda.
Yes, 100%. I would have been close with Frosty. Like we would have bonded instantly. When we before we started playing the game and we were holed up in Ponderosa, we shared a cabin. So we couldn't speak because we had a handler with us. But I got to witness his mannerisms and stuff like that. And I was like, I like this kid. Like this kid is kind of funky and different and cool. But that was kind of like our, non-speaking bond. So I did think if he's on my tribe, I'm definitely going to align with him. And him and Courtney all tended to sit at the same table when we would eat before the game, at food times. Mm-hmm. So I think that, and I would have actually gone further with Frosty, except for what happened was he won a reward challenge and then he did a back handspring. And I was like, are you kidding me? We're all out here literally dying and the kid's still doing flips. He can't go any further. There's just no way, because he's going to keep winning things. So I orchestrated basically to get him voted out.
Todd, this is so fun. So I talked to Frosty for quite a while about you. By the way, he loves you. He says that he's so grateful for you, that you inspired him to follow his dreams, by the way, in case you didn't know that. But this is what he told me. Yeah, isn't that great? This is what he told me. He said that before the game started, just like you're saying, he said that you guys were in the same room because y'all had bunked together, roomed together, and that the producer had stepped out for a minute, and that you started doing a 30-second charades with him, describing what you do, and that you were a flight attendant. He said you were doing the wings or passing out, and that he knew you were a flight attendant. And then Frosty said, "Oh my gosh, this kid is for real. He's starting the game now. He's already playing." Little did he know you started the game at 15.
I forgot. I completely forgot about that. You are, wow. Yeah. So we were in the room and I had said that I was a flight attendant, the charades thing. And then I said that I was 22 and he held up saying I'm 20 and my jaw dropped because nobody that young had ever played.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I remember being completely shocked.
And he said that I guess he did the charade things. He was in film school because he didn't want anybody to know that he was a sponsored athlete for the reasons you just said about him doing triple backflips out there.
You can't do flips on like day 27 or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And then not tell Todd that you are a sponsored athlete. Yeah.
Yeah. Like nobody needs to be seeing that because like I can't do a flip when I'm, healthy and happy. I'd break my neck.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there you go. Don't do flips if you ever play Survivor.
Smart.
Not on day 26.
This is good advice.
No. Oh yeah.
Todd, you get so much credit for your final tribal council jury performance. Was that something that you coming into the game really had in your mind, or was something that just came out that way of that you had this, big plan of being able to turn the people who you had seemingly wronged in the game onto your side?
Final tribal council is obviously something that I had dreamt of since I was a kid. So I always had pictured the different things that I might say and, what scenarios I could bring up. But I do remember specifically, it was day 39. We were waiting to go into tribal council, and me and Courtney were just laughing and joking. And Amanda was like, how can you guys be laughing right now? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to say. And I looked at her and I said, that's going to get you nowhere, Amanda. We are here on day 39 and me and Courtney are celebrating. So you do you. And I didn't want to go in and sound like a robot. I didn't want to go in and sound like I had this huge thing planned out. And I went in and I was like, I'm going to listen to what they say. And then I'm going to answer. And so, yeah, and it worked.
Your answers were perfect. And of course, with Jean-Robert, just the reaction to the jury. You answered him it was like you had rehearsed it. And it's so funny. It's like listening to you do your final tribal speech. It's like after you talked and after you answered the questions, I was thinking you made these people feel good about wanting you to win. That takes something. A 22-year-old being able to do that to these older, established people. Exactly what you said to Jean-Robert as far as, he is a strategic player in his daily life. You had to get him out. That's beautiful. Compliment him and then tell him why you backstabbed him. Perfect.
Well, thank you. And this is what I tell people. A lot of people are like, "Oh, what's your talent?" And you'll hear people be like, "I'm great at piano and I'm an athlete and this and that." And I never had like a talent. I was never, very good at anything in specific. I wasn't bad at things, but I wasn't really good at them. But one thing I was good at was talking to people. And so when people do say like, "What is your talent?" I'm like, I'm a people person. I'm good with people. And so, working at Disney World and working as a flight attendant and stuff like that, I learned how to respond to people that will make them feel good. And so I just kind of train myself.
And Todd, but you're genuine and you're sincere. And people know that. They can tell when you really care and that you're listening to what they're saying. So it brings up another interesting point as far as being a flight attendant, because I think that's kind of a characteristic that a lot of flight attendants have. And I know some people might think, yeah, you didn't have the flight attendant I had last week. But it's like, look how well, look at Tina. Tina was a flight attendant. Now
what about you, T-Bird? Is this something that you
didn't know? I was like, and you are, you're not.
Well, you and Tina, hey, I brought us down in the numbers. We would have been at 100%, but you and Tina both won. Hey, you would have been, Todd, you would have been my Lex. I would have realized, unlike Amanda and Courtney did, I would have realized Todd has to go. Because, I mean, the way you were playing. But no, I couldn't break through Lex. I could not break through it.
I can't. I can only imagine playing. I mean, it's crazy because it's like I'm sitting here with T-Bird and Rob, and we're, all actually, like, I'm very similar to both of you and how we would play the game, which is very odd because I feel like we would do well, whether it was, me and T-Bird or me and Rob. And so, yes, I agree with what you're saying is what I'm trying to get at. It would be odd because you'd be the happy Southern chatty one. That's the flight attendant. And then I'd be the happy gay Mormon flight attendant. And then we would make the same kind of friends. And then we would probably go against each other.
I'd just be happy to get out of my house for a little bit and, just no podcast for a while. But I'd be happy. I'd be happy too.
All right. So, Todd, I mentioned in your intro that you had gotten on with SkyWest Airlines, and that you had to give up your job to go on Survivor. And fortunately for me, I had been at the time with Delta for 20 years when I got cast for Africa. And it was a big decision thinking, well, it is during the summer. So, Todd, you don't get off during the summer with airlines. Right. Generally. So I thought, what am I going to do if I have to make the decision between Delta, who was my heartbeat and still is, and Survivor? And fortunately, I didn't have to worry with it. They worked with my schedule completely, but I'd been there a long time. Was that difficult? Well, I'm sure it wasn't difficult because it had been your dream since 15 to play, but was it hard to know that you were giving up that career before knowing how well you would do out there?
It was a difficult decision, I mean, so the answer that I was given, they said, just like you had been with Delta for 20 years, they said, you don't have the seniority. Sorry. And I didn't. And I understood that. And I was like, okay, well, if I can't, take these couple months off, then I'm going to have to quit, unfortunately. And they were like, okay. And so I did it. I quit. But I was like, I'm not going to give up the one main dream that I've had. And in my mind, I was like, if I want to fly again, I can do that later. And it could be with a different company.
That's right. With Delta, it could be with Delta.
Yes. So, yes. But like, that was my mindset. Is like,
are you recruiting, T-Bird?
Survivor isn't coming.
Yep. I'm recruiting Todd. Although Todd's a doll maker now. Todd's plate is full now.
I'm a busy guy.
He's a very busy guy, and it's only going to get busier. Hey, Todd, guess what? Guess what, Todd?
What?
I checked my mailbox today. It's Sunday. Mail doesn't usually get delivered on Sunday. Guess what was in my mailbox today?
It came today?
Yes. It's sitting here right here on my desk. Rob, I got my Funky Pop today.
Whoa.
It is so cute, you guys. It is so cute.
Yeah, could you talk about what you're doing with those? Because, of course, I've been seeing I'm friends with Todd on Instagram, so I see them all the time. Todd, what are you up to these days?
So it's weird. I know. But so I was once again managing a movie theater. So basically I was running a movie theater, and then COVID decided to come to the world, and that didn't happen anymore. So I was like, okay, well, what do I do with my life? And I collect these things called Funko Pops, and they're just toys with big heads of pretty much everything that you could possibly imagine. Well, I wanted the Spice Girls, and Funko does not have the Spice Girls. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to make my own. And I started to make them, and I, was like trying to figure out how to make it work. Anyway, long story short, I made the Spice Girls, and then I posted them on Facebook, and I was like, look what I made. And people started saying like, oh, that's cool. And then someone said, hey, can you make one of my son? And I was like, yeah, sure. so I did, and he posted it, and then a few other people asked, and within about a month, it exploded, where all these people wanted customized Funko Pops. And so I started doing it as just like a little hobby turned into a way to make some money. And as the year went on, it exploded. It's basically like being on Etsy, except for I'm not. I just do it all through social media and email. But now I make customized Funko Pops literally of anybody that you want. And obviously, I've gotten better at doing it because I've been doing it for over a year now. And I've made about 650 so far.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Can you just explain for anybody who doesn't know, what is a Funko Pop?
So a Funko Pop is a vinyl figure, and it's about 4.5 inches tall. And it's got a big head with big eyes and no mouth. Mm-hmm. And they literally are, you can find them for almost any movie, any character. I mean, they have thousands and thousands and thousands of them. But, people want one of themselves. And so that's what I do is I recreate someone that looks like you. It's a miniaturized version of you. Kind of like a bobblehead, but their heads don't bobble.
Todd, I just noticed I don't have a mouth. That's probably going to be a good thing.
So, T-Bird, I'm sure you will post a picture of the Funko Pop that Todd made for you. But Todd, could you describe it for our listeners? What did you do to capture T-Bird?
Well, I don't have a mouth.
T-Bird, they don't have mouths.
Rob, you'll be happy to know that I don't have a mouth. All right, describe it, Todd. It's so cute. Yes, Todd, we're going to post this for sure, right?
Yeah, of course. So T-Bird's, I mean, she had to have a Braves hat on. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what can I do? So, I went back to the challenge of putting the arm up with the bucket above the head.
Yes.
And so I recreated that.
Yes.
I recreated that image.
When it rains, it pours challenge. It's so cute.
Yes, the sun will come out tomorrow.
But I can't say because I don't have a mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Todd. All right, so you've done over 600 now. This is going to be a big promotional jump here. Do you have people helping you? Is Jess helping you with these dolls? You've got to have back orders like crazy.
So I am booked out for like 5 months.
Wow.
And,
awesome.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, but Jess does help me. So there's a lot involved, like including first you have to boil all the parts down, and then you have to use a 2-part epoxy to sculpt, and then you have to let that dry, and then you have to sand it down, and you have to put pieces together, and then you have to paint it, and it's a very big process. So yes, Jess does help with the process of it all, and then it's very weird, but it's actually a lot of fun, and it's kind of crazy because and I'm sure we'll touch back on my darker years, but my dad, he had gone through years ago a dark period himself, but he found a hobby where he would restore old phonographs. And we're talking, he has 70 restored phonographs in his house. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was weird. But he said to me, he was like, all you got to do is find something that you enjoy doing, and you will find yourself. And, once as he did that, he ended up finding a lovely wife, and he got promoted in his job and all of that good stuff. And it's he found himself through that. And I feel like, making toys has become a way that I've found myself, where I found out oh my gosh, I'm creative. And I kind of knew I had an imagination, but I didn't realize that I was artistically creative. And so, but now I do. So, yeah.
At what point will you hire more people, or are you just going to keep it small?
That's the big question. That is the big question. I don't know. We've talked about it. Me and Jess have talked about it, and so it may happen. It depends. So I enjoy the idea that it is, handmade, and it's made by me. And I feel like, especially fans of Survivor and stuff like that, they appreciate the fact that I'm the one that's making these basic little figures for them. So I don't want to lose sight of the fact that it's artwork for a specific person of a specific person with a very special meaning to that one individual.
Right.
Because making people smile is something that makes me happy. So, yeah.
And Todd, it's a hobby and it's a passion and it's a love. Obviously, you turn it into a business, you might lose, the way you feel about doing it. If it turns into where you're having to do it or you've got a team, it might lose some of the edge for you, some of the passion.
And honestly, I have days like that where I'm like, I don't want to do this today. And so if that happens, I don't. That's the beauty of doing it myself. I don't have to do it.
Right.
And if I got burnt out of it completely, then I would stop. Why do something that you hate is the big question. As of right now, I love it. But
so here
who
we
knows?
go.
Yeah.
So this is your plug. Everybody that wants one of these custom Funko Pops, you better get them, because if he burns out, it's over with. Get those orders in.
You better order.
So Todd, I'm looking at your Instagram and I see one of me, and great job. You got my microphone and my bell. Did somebody order this? Somebody asked you for one of me, or you make them of Survivors to show people what they can get if they want their own custom?
Rob's a huge fan of yours. Stephen Fox, who follows you and loves you.
I think it's Stephen Fishback. I was going to be like, oh my God, Stephen, you want one of me?
I thought you were going to say Fishback also.
Yes, no. Stephen is like, Todd, I want to, do not send me Rob. Any other Survivor, do not send. That's the last thing I want. Do not put that evil on me.
He's the one who ordered you, and he has nothing but wonderful things to say about Rob has a podcast.
Yes, he's a great guy.
Talking with T-Bird.
Yes.
So he's the one who ordered you, and he also ordered T-Bird, who I just sent it out today, or I sent it out like a few days ago. So he has one of both of you. Yes. So that is a fan order. And I actually finished one of you from Amazon for another fan. Rob.
Yes.
Ah.
I finished it yesterday. No
Somebody
joke.
requested me in a different outfit.
Yes. So you are. I'll have to show you pictures and see what you think.
Okay.
So yes, there you are.
All right.
So
that is the thing is if there's someone from Survivor who really doesn't want me to make them, then I won't. I won't do it.
And you won't do any requests, like if somebody says, Todd, could you make me Jenna and Heidi after they got chocolate and peanut butter? Then you're not going to do that, right? No,
I'm not a disgusting human being.
Of course,
you know, come on. But I mean, I have done naked and afraid characters. However, I put a bag where things would be. So, yes.
Hey, Todd, I'd like to, if we can, I want us to go back, if you're comfortable with it, and talk about, the best and most challenging part of taking your personal struggle public. Let's do it. And I know, you and I've talked about this a little bit, that you said we could talk about anything, but I think especially right now, with people with this COVID, I mean, a lot has changed with people with depression, being locked up in their homes, away from their family, away from their friends. And I'm sure there are a lot of people struggling with addiction, even more so this last year. And I don't mean just with drugs or alcohol. I mean, it could be with gambling, with sex, with shopping, video games, plastic surgery, binge eating. I mean, there's podcasting. There could be so many things that people are addicted to. What has helped you get through the last year?
Oof. Okay. Yeah. Well, definitely my pops have helped me through the last year. And then my awesome husband, like he's a really awesome guy. So, I mean, I know how bad drinking can be. Do you want me to just start at the beginning and get
Please.
to this?
I would love that if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, no, that's completely fine. So like, you know, I was born and raised in Utah and born and raised Mormon, where nobody drank around me. Drank, smoked, drugs. I'm sure it was happening, but just like not in front of me. So I really had no idea what it was. I didn't know what alcoholism was. I didn't really know. You hear about it, but I always had that picture in my mind that it's a bum on the street with a brown paper bag. So anyway, I didn't have my first drink until I was a flight attendant, and I was like, oh, this isn't bad, you know, like, oh, I don't feel like I'm a sinner going to hell. So I was like I was 22, which is crazy for a lot of people because I was a grown person already. But after Survivor, I would drink once in a while and just, you know, go to parties and whatnot. And I didn't see anything wrong with it. But as I would drink through the years, and I had moved to Florida, I was in a relationship with Spencer from Survivor as well. And, you know, we were both young and partiers. We liked to go to the club. We liked to have parties at our house, and I liked to drink. And my tolerance was just extremely high. So on my end, I just thought I was a champ. I was like, I'm a rock star. I can do like 23 shots and still be functioning. But I thought it was normal. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Well, it turned into something where I started to drink every day, and I still didn't see anything wrong with it. When I was about 27, I think, I would wake up and I would be shaky. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need a rock star, and I need a shot. And that would make the shake stop. And then I would go about my day working and all of that. But then the shaking got worse. So like my hands would tremble. And so I learned just from experience that if I took a shot, the shaking would go away. So I started to carry like airplane minis around with me pretty much everywhere I went so that I could take a shot so I wouldn't be shaky. And it got out of control to the point where I was taking about 10 airplane minis a day, but then a liter of vodka as well at the end of the night is what I would be drinking per day. Well, that progressed even more to be about 10 airplane minis a day and 2 liters of vodka a night. But I was somehow still functioning. But every single person around me could see that I obviously had a drinking problem, except for me. In my mind, I was like, I'm enjoying life. I'm having fun, and this is great. But I was the thing that had changed is I was no longer going to the clubs to do it or going to parties to do it. I was just doing it. At home while reading a book, I would be having literally a glass of vodka. And I mean, we're talking like straight up vodka. It's just, that's not normal. Mm-hmm. Well, one day I collapsed and I had a seizure, and I went to the hospital, and I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, well, that's weird. I must drink a lot of coffee. And it happened again about a month later. And then that was the first time that I went into like a 14-day detox center. And I thought I was healed. I was like, man, I can go back into the world and drink like a regular person and go to parties and stuff. And literally my behavior didn't stop. And then that's when, like, I had broken up with Spencer and I moved back to Utah and I lived alone in a condo and I just drank. So I wasn't working. I wasn't going out with anybody. I just drank. But I had been doing it for so long that it became a very normal thing to me. And I enjoyed it, as weird as that sounds. Like, I had enjoyed being alone and being with my TV. But obviously my family, they had seen what was happening and they knew that it was not okay. So that's when Dr. Phil happened. The first time I went to Dr. Phil and they sent me to a rehab in Texas. And that was awful because it was a 90-day rehab and I did not want to be there. And so I tried to leave. It wouldn't let me leave. But I pushed through. I was like, all right, fine. So I made it the 90 days. But literally the day I got home, I went and bought a whole handle of vodka as a celebratory thing. And so I continued to do it because I didn't want to stop. And it had become literally a lifestyle that I wanted to live. But then Dr. Phil happened again, went to rehab again, and then Dr. Phil happened again, and I went to rehab again. And honestly, like, being forced to go to rehab was miserable. I didn't want to change. I didn't want to be a functioning human being. It was painful. You know, I went to the hospital so many different times because of alcohol poisoning. And then the same exact thing would happen. I would come home, I would buy vodka and I would drink. And nobody knew why I wouldn't stop, you know? So, I did go back. Finally, I decided to go into treatment on my own. And I went and I did a full program of 90 days. And then I did like a halfway house after. Mm-hmm. But even after that, I didn't want to stay sober. So I got crazy. Well, I reached the point where I was literally bouncing around the country and I didn't know what was happening. I was living everywhere from South Florida to Orlando to South Carolina to Los Angeles in Texas. And then I finally had no friends. Nobody wanted to talk to me. Nobody wanted to be around me. My family was just over it. So they wanted nothing to do with me. They were basically saying, like, we've already lost you, so goodbye. And I didn't know what to do. So I showed up on my dad's doorstep. This was 5 years ago, somewhere around there. And I remember I had a few more nights of crazy, insane drinking. And I woke up and I was so sick. I was just like shaking and sweating and throwing up. Like I couldn't stop throwing up. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, Todd, like this, you have to right now, you have to decide, like, do you want to die? And, you know, it could be in a week, it could be in 2 years, but do you want to die? Are you ready to? And do you want to be alone? Or do you want to be a person again? Like, do you want that? And I decided at that moment, I was like, I want to be a person. And so I suffered through the detoxing. I did at my dad's house by myself and shaking and sweating and throwing up for days and days and days. And then that part was over. And usually at that point is when I would go drink again. But I was like, no, you're going to go and you're going to literally start from as if you were before Survivor. What would you have done after high school? I would have gone to work. So I went and found a job. I found a serving job, and I was like, okay, let's be a person. So I was a person. I was serving. And as I started to do that, I started to make friends, meet new people. And then my family started to see that I was different. And then they started inviting me to like family dinners and stuff. And so I was slowly integrating myself back into being human, is the best way that I can say it, is like being an actual person, and getting to know my nieces and nephews and getting to know who I am. And so the struggle for me, the main thing is I was like, do not think about all those times that you have fun at the parties and whatnot, and just focus on literally being okay with being a normal person at the age of 22, except for I'm at like the age of 31 or 32 or 33, somewhere around there. And I had to be okay with that. Instead of telling myself that I'm a 32-year-old failure, I had to say I'm a 32-year-old who's going to get a life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did, I did. And finally, a year or two after that, I was like, I'm ready to date. And so I put myself out there and I took some, selfies and got on Tinder and started dating. And then I met Jess, and then, and then that's it. And yeah.
Todd, I want to ask you, it's like you said at 22, you fulfilled a lifetime dream that you had been just so fixated on from 15. Did you feel like, because you maybe didn't feel like, where do you go when you've done everything you thought you ever wanted to do at 22? Do you think that played a part into you spiraling down?
I think subconsciously it very well may have. I think in my mind, I honestly, I don't know. I can't give you an exact reason. And a lot of people will, I don't want to ever put a blame on anything either, because the truth is I'm an alcoholic. And what that means is if I have a drink, I'm not going to stop. So it's not like I can go out to a dinner and have a glass of wine with friends, because I cannot do that. Like, that's just not able to happen. But I feel like I wanted to be an image after Survivor for people, and I was putting on a show for a lot of people, and that's not me. So maybe pretending to be someone that I wasn't was, maybe I was self-medicating, just like drinking any kind of pain or thoughts away of feeling like I'm not being myself. Because I know for a lot of addicts and alcoholics, self-medication is a huge thing, whether it be, like trying to self-medicate anxiety or pain or trauma or whatever. Like, I believe that I was self-medicating because I didn't want to have feelings at all. Like, I didn't want to feel sad, like I did happy. I told myself drinking was happy, and I almost conditioned myself to believe that. And that's a horrifying thing. Like, the truth is I should be dead from it all. I 100% should be dead from, it's insane. My blood alcohol levels have been, higher than I was, 0.374 in Texas. And the doctor had said to me that I shouldn't be alive. And if I was alive, I should be in a coma, and then I should be dead. And so, I don't know how I'm alive, and I don't know how my body was able to consume so much alcohol. It's absolutely, I don't know. But a lot of people do ask me, they're like, hey, my brother or my best friend is an alcoholic, and I really want to get them help. Like, what should I do? And my biggest answer for that is, unfortunately, the person that you love has to want it themselves. because people tried for years and years to get me to stop. And I didn't want to until I did.
Are you doing anything now as far as the support system with any meetings to kind of help you stay on track? Is that something that you practice?
So I do go to some speaker meetings every once in a while. Anytime that I'm feeling a little comfortable, let's say, like too comfortable to the fact where I think to myself that I could probably have something, I'll go to meetings and, listen to people speak and tell their story and then share parts of my story and kind of remind myself exactly why I want to be sober. So, yeah. And
I was also curious with you, with you being on the Dr. Phil show, with them having you back, did you say they put you back through rehab 3 times? Were they good? And did you feel that they were genuine with wanting to help you? It sounds like they were very generous with sending you through. How did you feel about that? And I know, like you said, you've got to be ready to want to stop.
Yeah. So, I have been to quite a few different rehabs. I would never tell someone to send their child into Dr. Phil. Mm-hmm. I do not hold that grudge against my parents for doing that. It takes a very strong person to be able to deal with the aftermath of that. And I don't like that part of my life, to be honest, but it's a part of my story that I obviously need to go through. But yeah, if people are listening, don't send your child to Dr. Phil. Anyway, the rehabs themselves are the ones who sponsored and paid for me to go to their treatment center. And there was honestly only one treatment center that I felt like really cared. Some of the others, there were experiences there that could be a Lifetime movie, and they are probably not, they shouldn't be in business. But for the most part, the people who work for treatment centers are unbelievable people. And, they are usually addicts in recovery themselves who are trying to help other people. It's part of a 12-step program is helping other addicts and alcoholics alike. And so, for me, if someone who is an alcoholic comes to me, the first thing I say is like, are you ready? Do you want it? Because if you don't, then there's no point in even talking to me.
Right.
Have you heard from a lot of Survivor fans that have commented about how your particular journey has helped them with any of the issues that they're going through?
I mean, that's one of the coolest things is when you hear from fans or even people who aren't fans that have just seen Dr. Phil who will reach out to me and they'll say like, hey, I watched Dr. Phil and I've been sober for a year. And I'm like, what? Wow. Like if I can help just by having that horrible stuff on television, then that's awesome. It is hard to watch. I won't lie about that. Seeing myself in that state, that's not me. That's not Todd. And so that's really hard to watch, but in a lot of ways it's necessary for people to see. Like if you have an addiction problem, you got to open your eyes to it because I just wouldn't see it. And at that time I was literally a shell of a human. I was barely existing.
I know that from the things I was reading that your mom and dad were so desperate to try to save you that they reached out to all resources. So I certainly, as a mom, understand wanting to do everything you can do for your child, even though you, like you said, you wish that it had to come to that. But I know they did it out of love, and I'm sure you know that as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The best thing that they actually did was let me go. That was the best thing that my parents ever did was say like, okay, you can be this way. but you're not a part of our life. So them letting me go and really, truly being alone was the best thing that could have happened. But I do know that when Dr. Phil did happen, it was their last option. Like in their minds, they were probably like, well, if we put him on TV so that everybody knows, maybe he'll want to stop. And I can't really blame them for that because I was so bad.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you've come such a long way, and we have I'm aware of alcoholism, and I'm also very aware that you have to want to stop, and that's, I guess, with anything. If you want it badly enough. You motivate yourself, and I can only imagine how difficult it was for your parents to let you go, to bring you back to them. So, your parents seem like wonderful people, by the way, Todd. You are a blessed man.
Hey, my family is amazing, and I'm super close with every single one of my siblings and my parents and my step-parents. And I mean, I'm so grateful. So, the fact that it had to get to the point where they did have to let me go obviously shows just how bad I was, but it also shows that, if you do want something bad enough, like I wanted my family in my life and I wanted to feel like a human, then I'm going to do something to change it. And I didn't realize just how lonely I was until they did let me go. I mean, it got to the point where nobody would answer my phone calls. Nobody would answer my texts. Nobody would let me come over. And at that point in my life, in my mind, it was their fault. Like, oh, screw you. But I mean, they were protecting themselves. They didn't want to watch their child die, And that's what I was. I was literally walking around like a zombie.
And I know your survivor family, too, was very strong. I did talk to Sandra, the Queen State's Queen, yesterday. And I know she's been, a big force in your life. And, she says she's had you to her home quite a few times. And basically she said, Todd could do it. He just had to want it to, badly enough. And I think she said he gets bored easily. He has to stay busy. And I guess that's like most of us.
Yes, that's so true. Because when I was bored, drinking would solve that problem. Sandra,
right.
First of all, she's amazing. She is absolutely amazing. In that time of my life where I was bouncing around the country with my drinking, she was one of the people that I did stay with. And I mean, that woman is just wonderful. Mm-hmm. But the truth is yeah, like I had to want it. I had to want it. And no, like it wasn't because I wanted to go play Survivor again and I wanted, to be in the spotlight for it or anything like that. It was because I wanted to be a person. I wanted to be Todd. And I feel like that, like wanting to be me, was enough of a reason to make me actually take it seriously and do something about it.
Right. And then you've met Jess. How long did you date before y'all got married? Y'all got married. Rob, they got married in Vegas in November. Yeah. And hey, Rob, were you invited to the wedding? Rob, I was at the wedding.
You were? For real?
Yes, I was. Absolutely.
I didn't even know you were friends like that with Todd.
Well, it just kind of happened. Right, Todd? Wink, wink.
Yes.
Yes. There were a few of us there. You weren't there, Rob?
You're messing with me?
No. I actually was there.
Yes?
Yes.
Is this a bit?
Yes.
Where's this going?
Well, I wasn't.
You were invited too, Rob.
I was?
You didn't respond back to the RSVP, Rob.
You didn't respond.
Mm-hmm.
Where was it? Snapchat?
We did
Vegas. It was in Vegas, baby.
No, I got that. Where was the invite?
Facebook Live.
Looks like
I invited all of my family to watch us get married on top of the stratosphere.
Yep. So, Todd, it looks like we're going to have to kind of push him out of the alliance. He didn't even come to the wedding and didn't even RSVP.
Yeah, bye.
What? Bye. Bye.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
We don't love you. We love you anyway.
I'm still confused. But Todd, was Jess a Survivor fan or was somebody who was did not know about your Survivor backstory?
Jess had no idea.
What was that like to explain? By the way, Survivor. I was on it, and I won a season.
Well, that was the best thing. Well, that was one of the best things. So when we met, we had gone on a few dates first. And I just wanted to get to know him, and I wanted him to get to know me. And then he did what anybody does, and he started stalking my Instagram. And he called me, and he was like, "Wait a second, I have a really weird question. What is this picture of you, like, in the jungle?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I was on the TV show Survivor." And he was like, "Wait, what? Like, just what?" And then that's when I was like, "Okay, come on over and I'll explain a little bit to you as to a little bit of my life." And he's still he had never watched a single episode of Survivor or any reality TV for that matter. And he was just like, okay, he didn't really think much of it. He thought it was cool and neat. But then I usually go to Hearts of Reality in Orlando every year. And so I was like, I'm going to take you this year. And I think that's where he got the first idea of that Survivor's a thing, because there's all sorts of, crazy fans and a thing. And he was just completely shocked. He was like, "What is this?" So then after that, I mean, this was, I don't know, about a year into dating is when he finally watched my season of Survivor.
And what was his takeaways? Was he like, oh my God, who am I getting involved with?
He was very he was weirded out. He was like, "This is just bizarre." I mean, I think it's one of those things where he just kind of was like, "All right, cool," But that was what was so awesome, was he didn't care. All he cared about was that he liked me as a person. And, Survivor was just a kind of cool thing on the side. So he does, however, love Hearts of Reality now, because he got into Big Brother because he met a bunch of Big Brother people there. So he loves to go hang out with the Big Brothers at Hearts of Reality.
But does he watch any of the reality shows now? Big Brother or Survivor when it's on, when it comes back on? Was he watching it toward the end?
He does, because I make him, but he actually really likes them. He loves Big Brother the most. That's his favorite, but he also loves Survivor. He has a hard time with Amazing Race. He's like, I don't it's just too much. But I'm like, okay, well then do something else while I watch. And he's like, and then he'll sit and watch. So yeah, he's now a reality TV fan.
So how long has he been watching Big Brother?
Let's see.
Are you watching it as well? Were you watching it too, Todd?
Oh, I love Big Brother. Are you kidding me? I love Big Brother.
Okay, so Todd, I know Rob's heard this, but I'm going to take you back to another flight attendant story. So Bailey, Bailey, that was on Big Brother.
Yeah.
That's when I started watching Big Brother, because I heard there was a Delta flight attendant on Big Brother that summer. And that's when I started watching it. And she was another one, Todd. She had to leave Delta because she hadn't been with the company. She was a flight attendant. She hadn't been with the company very long, so she couldn't get off for the summer. So it looks like she's done okay.
Oh my gosh.
I know. She's another one that, she's a Delta flight attendant. Isn't that weird? Crazy fun though?
I mean, I didn't even remember that, but I think that's also the very first season that Jess watched. And that's when he got sucked into Big Brother. At first he was like, "This is stupid." But then, like anything that's ridiculously entertaining, you can't stop watching.
Yeah, you get hooked on it, and you get hooked on the players, the characters.
Yes.
How long did it take Jess to watch your season? Because right now, Rob is watching a season a week for the Top 40 Countdown. How long did it take Jess to watch China?
Well, we watched together, and so we weren't living together at the time. So we would do probably like one night a week where we'd watch an episode. So it took some time, but it got to the point where he was like, I need to finish this. Like, I need to see what is happening. So yeah.
But he already knew you won, right? He already knew you won.
Yeah. He knew.
He knew the spoilers.
But he told me that as he was watching, he didn't understand how people weren't voting me out. So he almost thought that I was joking. He was like, there's no way that you won. Like, there's no way. And so, until he watched till the end.
No, wait. Meaning he thought they should vote you out because he knew you would win? Because you were that good? Or why was he thinking that they should have voted you out?
Because I was like the sneaky one. Because I was the one that was like pulling the strings. So he was like, these people are going to vote. He thought that I was like making something up. He thought I was making up the fact that I won because he was watching, and he's like, how did you win when this is happening? So
yeah. Who's going to keep you there? Who would keep you there? Yes, exactly.
I don't know. 15 fools.
Hey, okay. So also I was looking at some of the players that you played with. And so I want to kind of do kind of a little fun thing. I want you, if you want to, give me like a word or whatever comes to mind with some of these players that were on China. You want to do it?
Okay.
Let's make it fun.
Yeah, why not?
Let's make it fun. Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. Denise.
I was going to say hockey, but I'll say Budweiser.
Okay. I was worried you were going to say custodian.
I mean, yes, but Budweiser. Like, so Denise carries around a backpack of Budweiser anywhere she goes.
No, I've heard some good Denise stories.
Like that.
I've heard some good Denise stories. That one I can say is that she came to. We did a live show in Boston one time, and then just like randomly, like during the live show, she was just like yelling out the score of like the Bruins were playing the Maple Leafs, I think, in a playoff game, and she was just like in the middle of just like doing the podcast, just like, all right, 5-4, everybody.
Oh, Denise, she's I love her. She is absolutely insane, but she's a great person. Mm-hmm. There's a reason she was on TV, because where did you come from? Yeah.
Okay, Leslie.
Amazing. She's just a beautiful soul. She's a wonderful woman.
Eric.
Cardboard.
Aaron.
Smile. The OC. We would call him the OC because he likes to pose in the sunsets, hoping the camera would notice.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody ever keep up with Aaron? He's like one of those off the grid people, I feel like.
I think the last time I heard from him was like 2 years ago, and he was living in like Norway or something weird like that. I don't know. He's married and has a baby now. I know that much.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
No news is good news sometimes with these Survivor contestants.
Yeah. I mean, I do follow him on Facebook, and so I'll see his posts and, like it and comment like, oh, you've got a cute family. So... Mm-hmm. He's happy by the looks of it.
All right. Amanda?
Gorgeous. She's just beautiful.
I was watching back a lot. By the way, have you ever listened to Rob's, what's it called? What's it called, Rob?
Evolution Strategy?
Evolution Strategy. So, Todd, I got Rob to send me the Evolution Strategy because it's been so long since China was on that I thought I got to brush up on this, right? So I listened to 4 hours, and then realized that I was on like day 11. So there's like 25 or 30 hours of this that I didn't finish at the very last because I know what happened. But I was wondering about Amanda. I don't see her it doesn't seem like she smiled very much. She never looked really very happy to be there.
That's a good thing to point out, because she doesn't smile a lot when she's in the jungle, which is weird because in real life she's all smiles. So I think it's because she thinks a lot. I think she's always thinking while playing the game. And so like whenever I would go visit her out in California and, you know, spend a couple weeks with her, she is just a very happy, fun-loving, just, you know, like we were just always laughing and joking. I think like one of the funniest stories, and I hope you can put it on, but like we would go to the beach and she always had this problem where her top one side would fall down, and I would always I would call it the Janet Jackson check, and she would just giggle and laugh, and I'm like, Amanda, Amanda, your boob is hanging out again. And she's like, oh, whoops. Like, and she would put it back.
Well,
that's Amanda for you.
It makes sense. I mean, the stress of the games, because it seems like what she played 3 times, it seems like I never saw her smile very much. But hey, let's face it, Survivor's a very stressful game. That's for sure.
It is. It's extremely stressful. And like, I can't imagine. She went right back, you know, like she's one of those players who did back-to-back seasons. And so it's like, that can't be easy.
Right. Okay. PG.
I got this PG, man. She's crazy. She is insane. And I love her. PG, she is crazy. Have you ever had a conversation with PG?
I've had many. How's she crazy?
PG is the most vulgar and blunt and outspoken human being in every possible way.
Oh my God.
But she is so honest, and she just spills in front of you. It's hilarious. She's amazing. I love PG.
Todd, did you know for second chances? Well, I didn't make it out there with PG, but do you know that I had kind of a pre-alliance, because I was figuring out everybody was doing all these pre-alliances. So I was in a pre-alliance with PG. How do you think that would have worked out?
Okay, first of all, that would have been epic. And second of all, I do want to say, like, I am still to this day furious that you were not chosen. And I don't know how, because some of the people that made it, it's like, what? But anyway, if you and PG played together, it would have been amazing. You know,
T-Bird, how come
second chance?
You say sometimes that you didn't have any pregame alliances, and then sometimes you're like, sometimes you do have pregame alliances.
Well, okay, so Rob, what happened was I kind of didn't have any pregame alliance because I wanted to go into the game. Who did we talk? Oh, Kelly Wigglesworth. When Kelly said we talked to Wigglesworth from Borneo, Todd.
And guess what? I was on Clubhouse with Monica Padilla the other day, and she said she had a pregame alliance with you too.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, let me just tell you.
But then we got the podcast. T-Bird's like, oh no, I never had pregame alliances with anybody.
Okay. I went into it like Wiggles. I thought, I'm going to wait till we get out there, because everything's going to change. And I'm one of these, if I give you my word, you know, that's the way I am. So I'm like, there's no need to be figuring all this out before we get out there. And then PG and Monica reached out to me, and, you know, I guess everybody were doing these alliances. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got nothing. So yes, I was in a pregame alliance with Monica and PG. Yes.
Okay, that's it.
That's it.
There you go.
Well, Terry Dietz did reach out to me, but I could
now
looking back about Dietz, I could tell I was like way on the outside of the circle. Just thinking about some of the things he said to me, I thought, okay. But anyway, all right. So Todd, PG, I know you and PG are super awesome friends. Rob, have you got the message ready?
Yes.
Let's do this.
Okay, here we go. Here's something special for Todd.
Hi, Todd. Guess who? It's your arch nemesis from Survivor China. This is PG Law. Who would have guessed that we'd turn out to be such great friends after all these years? And I still can't believe you have my initials tattooed on your back. Make sure you tell him the story. I just want to say that I was so incredibly honored that you asked me to design your wedding rings. They're probably my favorite piece of jewelry that I've ever designed, just because they were so incredibly meaningful, all the thought that you put into designing it, and I just love how they turned out. I adore seeing you with Jess, and it makes me just so happy to see how happy you are. I want you to know that I'm so incredibly proud of how far you've come and all your success with your amazing Funko Pops art. You are so talented, and I hope you know I'm your biggest supporter ever. I even let you talk me into driving out to Hollywood to get you some limited edition pops.
Oh my gosh.
Which I would literally have never done for anyone else. And although I drew the line at standing in like a 2-hour line, I hope you appreciate the effort. And I'm sorry I ended up not getting you your pops. Anyway, I always knew you would be wildly successful at whatever you put your heart into. Duh, why else do you think I kept trying to vote you off all the time? Because I knew you would win. Anyway, I love you. I love you guys too. Rob and T-Bird, thank you so much for letting me come on to say hi. Bye.
Oh, thank you, PG.
PG.
Well,
She wasn't
that
vulgar.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, well, I freaking love Peachy. She's one of the greatest humans on the planet.
Tell me about the tattoo.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I have a whole bunch of tattoos on my back. So a lot of people don't know that. But a few, like there's a line of just letters, and they're the initials of people who have inspired me in life. And I told her, like one day we were hanging out, having dinner or something, and I was like, she was like, you don't even like me that much. And I was like, PG, I have your name tattooed on me. And she was like, no, you don't. And I was like, yeah, I do. And I showed her, and she was like, that's not what that means. That's your city. And I was like, PG, look at the other initials. And there was Courtney Yates and like some of my friends that she knows. And she was like, she almost started bawling. She was just so like, I can't believe you would do this. And I was like, I love you. And this is just a way for me to like show my personal diary, which is my tattoos, like of who I respect and love in this world. And so, yeah, that's PG on my back.
Wow.
That's great. And you mentioned the tattoo. So that was another thing that Frosty said, that he had designed you a tattoo. And that it's basically, it's two birds coming together, right? Because you guys were hanging out a lot and you're such good friends. But I think that what Frosty told me, it was supposed to be like a softball size. But when y'all got to the tattoo, to the artist, they needed to make it like 40 to 50% bigger than it was. And Frosty's like, no worries. You don't need to do it. And he goes, no, I'm having the whole thing on my back because he said he wants you to be there forever. That's what you told Frosty.
Yes.
I love that.
Again, like, you know, I absolutely love and adore Frosty. And so he designed it. And because we were talking about tattoos and, you know, of course we were like in our 20s, yo, bro, like I want a tattoo and this and this. And anyway, he designed it and I was like, oh, I want this. I'm going to get this in my body. Because it's two birds that come together to form one big bird. But they're like kind of Mayan looking. And one's black and one's white, and it stands for like the good and the bad inside, you know, like yin and yang type thing. And so we went to go get it. And this thing is massive. Like it's big on my back. And it took 4 hours to get done. And then when I got back to his house in Chicago, I was sleeping on his couch, and his couch is leather. So I was sleeping with my back, obviously, on the couch. And I woke up and I sat up, and I'm not kidding you, my back was stuck to his leather couch and I had to peel off basically. But there is a permanent imprint of that tattoo, like of the ink, on his leather couch.
Okay, so his couch has a permanent tattoo as well. Perfect. That's true friendship there. I love that.
The two birds.
The two birds.
Yeah.
Birds of a feather. Birds of a feather. All right, here we go. Courtney.
Oh, sassy, fierce, fabulous, wonderful, and alien.
Alien?
Yeah, I swear she's an alien. She's not from this planet. She's not. She's definitely from a different planet. She has not aged since she was 21. Like, she's almost 40. Like, this woman is amazing. She has all these crazy, insightful, spiritual intuition things. I'm like, you're not human. So I believe she's an alien among us.
And Todd, wow. I know you mean that in a beautiful way. I can tell you do.
Yeah, she agrees in that. Like, she loves that I say that. I mean, she calls herself the White Witch. So
I haven't met Courtney. I know Lex is really good friends with Courtney, and I know you're really good friends with Courtney. I've not met her, but I really, really want to. I hope I get to.
She's wonderful. She's absolutely wonderful. I mean, her and I, we went to Peru together, and we got to sit on like the walls of Machu Picchu together, which was amazing. And we went on a Caribbean cruise together. I mean, her and I have done an awful lot together.
Okay, Frosty.
Oh, just
Birdman.
Stud. He's a total stud in every way possible. I have nothing bad about these people. Well, except for Pepper. Just kidding.
Except for who? What did you say?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm just mumbling.
All right. James.
Beast.
All right. Very good.
Hey, anything else for Todd?
No, let me think. Oh, I wanted to tell him that Sandra and the Queen Stays Queen says that you turned her on to hummus and pita chips because she had never had any before. And I thought this was kind of interesting what she told me. She said that her and Vesepia were somewhere at Cocoa Beach and that you had gone up to them to get their autograph years prior to you being on Survivor, and that you actually told Sandra and the Queen Stays Queen, I'm going to be on the other side of that table one day. And then Sandra said, and he freaking did.
Yes. I went to an event in Cocoa Beach when I was 20, and I carried around a bag of buffs, and I had all these people sign it. And I was like, I will see you soon. And, we hear that. Yeah. And we're like, yeah, we will. Woohoo. But I was determined. You got it, buddy.
Wow. And you did it.
And you did it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I didn't know that story.
And won.
Yeah.
Yeah. I literally would I dreamt of going to this event to meet Survivor people, and I did, and it was super freaking exciting. And then Nalia was from Utah, and she worked for the news station, and whenever she would do anything local, I would go stalk her. And so it was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Are you and Nalia still in contact with each other?
We do chat once in a while. She lives way up north in Utah, so it's she lives in Egypt, basically. But yes, we chat once in a while.
She's a sweetheart. You manifested it, Todd, and you made it happen. I mean, I believe in that.
You gotta believe.
You gotta believe. And now, I guess this is the last thing, Rob. I wanted to tell him what somebody said about it. But I've talked to quite a few from your season, and they, of course, love you dearly. But Leslie Neese said, I'm so thankful I had Todd on my tribe. Our chats about Survivor used to get us in so much trouble. The producers would tell us, two huge Survivor fans, to stop talking about previous seasons because they weren't going to be able to use any of the footage. She said it was from having another super fan to talk with, plot with, and suffer with in the muddy jungles of China was fun. I made a friend for life. Survivor family is the absolute best. Todd will always be my Survivor son.
Oh,
yeah.
Leslie. No, I love her.
Rob, did
She's
that help?
amazing.
You know what, and Todd, I remember when we were playing in Africa, the third season, I don't know how many times, Kelly Goldsmith was a huge Survivor fan, just like you, and she would always talk about what happened, or Brandon would be talking about the seasons prior, and the producers said over and over, you guys, we can't use any of this. Stop talking about it. So I remember the producers saying that to us, so that made sense when Leslie told me that.
It's so true. It's so true. Wow. Well, here, I got to say 2 fun things for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
First, Rob, my first buff was from Amazon.
Yes.
And it was because it was my favorite season, and you were my favorite player.
Well, I really appreciate that, Todd. I will always remember the first time I got to meet you. Do you remember where it was?
In LA, right?
Yes, at the 10-year anniversary party. Is so excited to
Yes, that
meet
was the
Todd.
very first one.
Yes, and I think I think I had not watched your season when it had aired, but I had seen it, I think recently, right before I had met you. So it was very exciting to meet Todd in the flesh.
Todd, do you have a tattoo on your back for Rob, representing Rob?
Not yet, but I will.
Not
I'm
yet.
gonna get I'll get a hashtag RHAP.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes.
So, and then T-Bird, I still have your TV guide, and it's like in a special little place. Yes. So I still am a giant Survivor nerd. But if you guys were able to see all of my Survivor collection from before I was ever on the show, you'd be like, oh gosh, you're one of them. So yes.
I think Sandra said you have every buff from every season, every torch, voting urns, everything Survivor. When you have parties, you have everything.
Oh, I mean, I had everything, but it was all homemade because I couldn't afford that crap.
Oh, you homemade it.
Yes.
And Todd, you've watched every season these last couple of years. You never miss one?
Never miss one, no.
Oh, wait, we hadn't asked him, Rob. Do you want to play again? Todd, do you want to play again? Have you been contacted since Survivor China?
So yes, I have been contacted a few times, and I've always said yes, and I would like to play again. I'm not sitting here waiting for it to happen, but if it were to happen, I would absolutely love it. So yes, I would love to.
Did they, even want to check in and get your availability on Winners at War, or do they already know exactly who they wanted?
Oh, well, the email that I got was, hey, do you have your crap together? And my response was, yes. And their response was, good. Looking forward, legend. And that was it.
Okay.
Aw. So that kind of built you up, right? Of course. I mean, that built you up.
I mean, of course,
bittersweet message.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It made me, I was like, hey, at least they're just checking to make sure that I'm, alive. That's cool. I recently got asked to do a different show, and it was like a complete bizarre thing. But
the challenge?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Was it CBS? Was it a CBS show?
No, Rob, you were right, but I said no.
Oh, wow.
Wow, Todd, that's wild.
Todd, why did you say no, Todd?
Because of work, and I don't know if I want to go be in any kind of a party scene on television.
Sure.
Just be safe, protect myself.
Yeah.
That's smart.
And those challenges are intense also, Todd.
Yeah, no, I mean, I also don't want to die. I'm 36.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to die.
You guys, don't you have to be in really awesome? When I think of the challenge, I think of Natalie and I know Jay Starrett did it. Don't you have to be amazing? I
Or
guess
big.
What are you guys hinting at? Are you sitting here saying that I'm not in shape?
No, I'm saying that I feel like that I would, and not to say that I'm in great shape, but I feel like that I feel the people that are on the challenge are like 6'6" and it's like going into the WWE.
No, I know, and that's why I had to laugh about the entire situation because I thought it was a joke. And then I was like, no, I could do that. And then I was like, no, I can't do that. And then I was like, you know what? I bet I could. And I would. I just don't feel like now is the time.
Well, okay. Todd, I wasn't saying anything about your physical, your physical.
I know. I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
But Todd, even when you did your final tribal speech, you were saying, I knew coming into it, I wasn't the most physical, but I could be the most strategic.
Yeah, so maybe you could just I do think you have to win a challenge to advance, but maybe Todd could figure out like a whole different path to the end.
No doubt he couldn't figure that out. That's for sure. All right.
Yeah, maybe Big Brother. Then Jess would be excited. You can watch live feeds. Yeah.
Big Brother would be perfect for you, Todd.
Of course. I've done rehab so many times. Like, I can sit in a house.
Big Brother's like nothing.
Yeah, it's a cakewalk.
Yeah, you would be great. That would be great.
Todd, where could people check out everything you're doing with the pop figures?
So I have an Instagram specifically for my pops. It's at Todd's Pop Shop. And it's where I post all of my new pops. You can also just find them on Facebook. So, yeah. Or you can message me at toddspopshop@gmail.com.
Yeah.
If people are curious about ordering, they just send me a photo of what you want, and I will price it for you, let you know, because they all vary in price.
Mm-hmm.
Send me a photo of what you want, and I will let you know what the deal is.
And Todd's 5 months behind, so put your orders in for Christmas pretty soon.
That's right.
Don't wait around.
That's right.
Last year, I was booked through Christmas in July. So I'm assuming it's going to be similar to that.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, Todd, it's so nice to hear from you, and it's so nice to hear that you're doing well.
Hey, this has been super awesome, and I'm just very glad that you guys had me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Todd, thanks so much. Hey, Todd, post mine and Rob's pop together.
Okay, I will. I will.
Put them together there.
Yes.
All right. Todd, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You are welcome. Thank you. Thank you. I'm serious. Thank you. This was awesome.
All right. Thank you so much, Todd. All the best, okay?
Bye, Todd.
All right. Love you guys.
All right.
Love you too, Todd.
Bye. All right, T-Bird. How about that? Todd Herzog.
Yeah, well, that was great.
Yes.
So much information for Todd. It's so neat to talk to him now at 34. Everything he's come through since he played. He was 22. Well, actually,
look, it's not easy. We talked about Fabio last week. When you're that young and you win all that money, like it's the winner of my season, Jenna Maraska, she went through a hard time also. You were a very young person. You haven't experienced much life. You have fame. You have money. Sometimes it's a dangerous combination.
Well, you know what, Rob? That makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like, child actors.
Mm-hmm.
They get. They do so much at such a young age. And for Todd, I know I say he was 22 when he played, but for some reason, what I think about, he was actually 15 when he started manifesting and working toward this dream to come true.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that dream come true, not just being on the show, but winning, where do you go? I mean, like you said, between the money and the fame and accomplishing something you've wanted to do for so long, I can see where you'd be a little bit, trying to find your way. So it's so great to see where he is, that he's so happy, and he's married to Jess. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm really happy for him.
All right, T-Bird. What's next for you?
Well, let's see. I'm working on one for next week, Rob. I'm really I know what you're going to say. T-Bird, you're excited about all of them. Yes, I am. And I'm excited about the one we've got for next week. I'm not sure. I think it's going to be all over the place. Between Rob, you're going to have to relax for the week. And I know you're going to be watching another Survivor season, but I think next week's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so. I'm very excited about the next one that you have lined up because it's somebody who is on my original list of people I was asking you to look for.
Oh, okay. So, yes, the original list is a list of only 12 names before we started season 1. This person was number 3. I still have the list, Rob.
Yeah.
Number 3 on Rob's original list of 12. So, you guys get ready. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, T-Bird, very excited about that one. Anything else you want to tell the listeners?
Get your Taco with T-Bird t-shirts.
Yes. Do you already have your T-Bird merch?
I do not.
Okay. They'll be there soon.
But it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I saw, oh gosh, I want to say the cute little girl's name. Had it on last night. I saw it on Twitter and I'm thinking, oh, I love it. It matched her hair and it was just cute. So yes, I'm looking forward to that.
All right. You can check that out in the Rob Has a Podcast shop at robhasawebsite.com/shop to check out the T-Bird merch there. Of course, so much going on here on Rob Has a Podcast. And we're going to be talking about the 32nd best season of Survivor Ghost Island. I know that Todd's husband didn't like it when he first watched it, but we'll be talking about that on Wednesday night. T-Bird, over the weekend on Rob and Akiva Podcast, we played Match Game.
Oh, fun!
Yes. I know you're a fan of the game shows. I know when you were on Card Sharks, I saw Reddit found that your episode of Card Sharks must have aired recently.
Yes. I figured Card Sharks, when I first saw it years and years ago, I thought, God, all you have to do is either go figure out a 50-50 shot, higher or lower. I think I could do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well,
did you win?
Well, I think I was on for 3 days. And I won.
Oh, you must have won a lot then.
For back in the day, this was back in the early 80s. But in the 80s, Rob, I think I won like $18,000.
Wow. Now,
yes, that money's no longer there. I had to stay on with Delta. But that was a lot of money back then. So that neat was great. It's great.
That was wild.
Yeah.
Look at you, T-Bird. All right.
Yeah.
We got so much going on. Rob Has a Podcast. It's a new month. Great time to become a patron of Rob Has a Podcast. Check out everything we're doing over at robhasawebsite.com/patron. T-Bird, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Great.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye. If you stay here and listen, your life won't ever be the same. 'Cause we're talking with T-Bird now. This T-Bird you cannot change. Oh, and things might get pretty strange.